before we bring it home, and I know I always bring up the whole 9/11 flight thing, but I'm fixated on it. I apologize, but I think about it all the time. But I realize I haven't talked to you about it in a decade. So, with the last couple of minutes, I'm just curious about the timeline. I can't figure out. I can't remember if you were running late or you got misinformation from, I think, your assistant.
Yeah, it was a little of both. It was a little of both. My travel agent had written 8:15 on the itinerary, and in fact, the flight left at 7:45. Coupled with the fact that, as you well know, I at the time was a chronically late person, so I had missed other flights, just not one that was so memorable. But yeah, just realized there's like a godly ray that's behind me.
There's a shaft of light that has descended upon you, my son.
There's a shaft of light.
Wow, but this is yeah, kismet. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there is. There is the factor that I was chronically late. I was never on time for anything. I had missed so many flights, but it was, and I was hungover. I had had some drinks the night before, and I was hungover. So, yeah, I got to the desk, and they said they just closed the gate. You're too late. So I went to the waiting room and fell asleep, and woke up when everything started, and was watching the TV, and they announced the flight number, and I turned to the guy next to me, and I just said this was the flight I was supposed to be on this morning. I missed it. And then I started drinking again. So,
did you? Was it the first flight that hit the tower, the first tower, or the second one?
I don't remember. It was Flight 11. It was American Airlines Flight 11. So I don't know. I don't know if it was the first. I think it was the first flight, but I could be wrong. It might have been the second.
And
flight.
Were you like arguing with the person behind the counter to let you onto the flight at the time?
I wasn't, because I was really tired, and I was kind of used to it at that point. I was like, oh, I missed a flight again. I was late again. So, I just moved me to the 11. Do you have seats on the 11? Yes, we have seats on the 11. So take that. So yeah, no, I didn't really push it. And not that I think when they close the gate, right? That's right. It. Yes.
And one of the things I find sort of commendable about you in its own weird way is that you just said, turn the page, getting on with life. You didn't feel like you had any special calling because of this. It was just something that happened. You're glad not to be in the plane, but you didn't have a sense in that very moment of like having an out of body experience?
I didn't, because I don't know. I think with that kind of thing, we're so susceptible to our own egos. And I think to say I had such important work to do in this world, I had so many shit jokes to write that I was spared. I think you have to have an out of control ego to really take that seriously. And aside from the fact that, look at it this way, every flight that takes off, somebody misses that flight. Probably somebody's late, or somebody doesn't, cancels, or, somebody misses that flight. So that's a lot of people missing a lot of flights. So my odds are kind of about the same as anyone else's. And also I had missed so many flights before that, from being chronically late, that it just isn't. There's a lot of things where Carl Sagan used to say we are significance junkies. We love to attach significance to everything, because it's really just not fun or comforting to acknowledge, yeah, sometimes, and quite a lot, coincidences do happen. And that's really what this was.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people feel out of control when you go, shit happens and you can't control it. Now, some people, depending on your wiring, actually feel relieved that they don't have to be responsible for all the control that's going on. I think every time I crash a car on a racetrack, I just have that feeling of I'm out of control, so live with it. Like there's nothing you can do.
That's what cults are for. That's right. Where you find that's where you find comfort if you're that kind of person.
One last plug: Blue Skies, name of the album. It's out, and you can get it wherever you find finer music. That's a part of my childhood. I just like to put finer men's clothes, finer, everything's finer rice-a-roni. It's like it was always like they would put finer.
Going all the way. Not finest. They're not going that far.
No, just finer. Wherever you purchase finer American apparel. Yeah, it was never the finest. It was finer. And so wherever you...
but we're in the mix.
Sorry, say it again, Seth.
I said, no, we're not the finest, but we're in the mix.
Yeah, you're top 7 in the fine department. And of course, the Orville season 3, New Horizons, that'll air tomorrow. You can watch it on Hulu or wherever you find finer programming. Seth, always good to talk to you, my friend. I hope I'll see you at the Christmas party this year if it's back on.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
I will. It's really the best night of anyone's life. I can't speak for Seth, but the best people, the best drinks, the best music, and the best time. Thanks for joining us, my friend. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Seth MacFarlane saying